Hello to our wonderful YouTube friends, and welcome back to another edition of Stirring It Up with Tierra Monique Kitchen Table Talk. And on today's segment of political news, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican, is at the table. So let's listen and talk about it on the other side.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is under fire for her social media activity. Now, she's already known for supporting extremist conspiracy theories, and CNN is now reporting on her posts and others she's liked that seem to call for violence against Democrats. Greene was elected to Congress by a nearly 50-point margin in November. Now, just a few months into her term, the representative to Georgia's 14th congressional district may face a measure looking to expel her from the House. NBC News. First, just tell us about what has been found on her social media. What was in that CNN report?
Well, Savannah, good morning to you. These are posts from back in 2018, 2019, before she became a U.S. Congresswoman. And again, these are reports from CNN. NBC has not independently seen these posts, which have since been deleted. But in a series of likes and in a series of kind of Facebook comments, she appears to essentially promote violence against Democratic leaders, against House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, former President Barack Obama. There's one comment that appeared to have her like on it, in which she liked a statement suggesting shooting Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and another one she falsely accuses her of treason. So a number of these statements. Now, NBC has reached out. We've reached out to her office, not gotten a response from them directly, but she did respond to that CNN article in which she calls it essentially a hit piece, saying that they're attacking her for her time before she was in Congress. She also made the point in there that there are other people at times handling her social media accounts. But again, in that statement about the CNN piece, she did not push back on the accuracy or the validity of those posts.
Now, Blaine, I'm curious, what do voters think? In Greene's Georgia district, what did they tell you about their opinions on her?
Yeah, so right now we're in Rome, Georgia. We're about an hour and a half or so outside of Atlanta, just for perspective. So in North Georgia, this is a district that she won very handily. When our producer spoke to people here in this area, it really is kind of split. You have some people. I spoke with one woman who essentially said to me, I think the way she thinks, and they really enjoy the fact that she's a fighter. That's something that we've heard from a couple of people, that she stands up for what she believes in, that she's a fighter and isn't afraid to say what she thinks, whatever that may be. But then we've also talked to some people who say that it goes too far and that they do not like the type of rhetoric. Take a look.
She's bold. She speaks the truth, and she stands behind what she says. And where a lot of politicians don't do that anymore. I think she's a good spokesperson for the Republicans. That's my opinion of her. She's a go-getter. And I think we need somebody that will step up to the plate.
Yeah, so again, a lot of mixed opinions. But here's another voter. Listen to what she had to say. Take a look.
Just because you say something over and over again does not make it true. And I haven't seen anything for unity. And everything I've seen from her was disdain is frankly against what I believe in as a patriot in the Constitution. It's okay. We run elections. You win some, you lose some. But we don't need to lie and disrespect everything we built because you lost. So that's how I really feel personally. I don't see her as a person for people.
So there you have it again, Savannah. A lot of people giving different opinions. Mm-hmm. Again, this is a district that she was just elected into Congress just a few months ago. She's very popular here, back in town, holding a series of town halls since she's been here. So certainly depends on who you ask. But again, a lot of support here in her home district.
So, Blaine, you just mentioned she just made it to Congress, but now there's a measure to expel her from the House. What are Democrats saying about that, and what are the next steps?
Signing her to the Education Committee when she has mocked the killing of little children at Sandy Hook Elementary School, when she has mocked the killing of teenagers in high school at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, what could they be thinking? Or is thinking too generous a word for what they might be doing? It's absolutely appalling. And I think that the focus has to be on the Republican leadership of this House of Representatives for the disregard they have for the death of those children. They not only are they not interested in gun safety and gun violence prevention by passing legislation for background checks legislation, which is overwhelmingly supported in a bipartisan way in the country. But to have someone who would call it a fake, those fake events onto is just beyond. It's just beyond any understanding of any regard that the House Republicans would have for the House of Representatives, for the Congress of the United States, and for the heartbreak of the families in Sandy Hook and at Marjory Stoneman High School. Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, it's really beyond the pale. You're just going to have to ask them why they thought that raised itself to the level of something appropriate to do in the Congress of the United States.
Have a comment on this social media profile that has emerged of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, and is there a response to whether any disciplinary action should be taken against her given everything that's come out?
We don't, and I'm not going to speak further about her, I think, in this briefing room.
So, pretty clear signal from the White House. It has no interest in pulling the pin out of that grenade, the extremist claims made by the freshman QAnon Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was rewarded by Kevin McCarthy just today with a seat on the House Education Committee. Notable after she called mass school shootings false flags. Still with us, watching with amazement, Tim Miller, Michael Steele. Michael, you were the first to invoke her name before the break. Axios reported the following about Kevin Profile Encourage McCarthy. Talking about Congresswoman QAnon, he says these comments are deeply disturbing, and Leader McCarthy plans to have a conversation with the Congresswoman about them. He has not switched to speaking in third person. That was a spokesperson. By the way, that photo of her, she wore that mask on the floor of the House, says Trump won. Here's the question, Chairman Steele. How did the party of Margaret Chase Smith allow itself to be at all associated with a woman who contends there is no evidence that a plane crashed into the Pentagon on 9/11?
It's, they stopped caring about the things that mattered. They stopped caring about the very value set that defined the party since 1854, that gave us the giants of Lincoln and Frederick Douglass and Eisenhower and Reagan. And so the reality is this is where we are. The only conversation Kevin McCarthy should be having with Congresswoman Taylor Greene is you have two choices. You can resign or we can unseat you. And that's it. That's the only conversation he needs to have. But after 4 years of Trump, why would we expect that conversation to take place? No, you go out and you threaten the life of sitting members of Congress, yes, as a private citizen, but you're now in the United States Congress because you were elected there. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, we do, because that's what Republicans wanted. But now that you're there, and we know all of this, and there's going to be more revelations because folks like that have a video trail. So I just start digging it up, right? You get rewarded with a seat in the United States Congress on the very committee where you talked about, the shootings in our schools have false flags. So we'll put you on the Education Committee. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. So here we are. This is the 21st century Republican Party. So Margaret Chase Smith is probably sitting there going, damn, that's messed up, as are a lot of Republicans. And we're trying to figure out a way forward. But with each day, it gets harder and harder by the actions and the words and the deeds of the men and women like McCarthy and Taylor Greene.
Tim, in 60 seconds, is this the modern day new low for the Republican Party?
There have been so many lows, Brian, but I really, these last 2 weeks have shocked me. And I just don't want to understate it. It's shocked me. I mean, to think that there will only be 5 at the maximum numbers of the U.S. Senate that think that the president should be held to account for that insurrection that caused the deaths, for trying to steal this election. It is unconscionable. And to think that that woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who harangued a victim of a school shooting, David Hogg, whose classmates were assassinated weeks before, she shouted him down on the street, called him Little Hitler. You wouldn't invite this woman into your own house. Forget the House of Representatives. So,
David, why are you supporting the red flag laws? If Scott Peterson, the resource officer at Parkland, had done his job, then Nicholas Cruz wouldn't have killed anybody in your high school, or at least protected them. Why are you supporting red flag gun laws that attack our Second Amendment rights? And why are you using kids as a barrier? Do you not know how to defend your stance? So I'm walking. He's got nothing to say. Sad. He has nothing to say because there really isn't anything to say, you guys. He has nothing to say because he's paid to do this. Guess what? I'm a gun owner. I'm an American citizen. And I have nothing, but this guy with his George Soros funding and his major liberal funding has got everything. I want you to think about that. That's where we are. And he's a coward. He can't say one word because he can't defend his stance.
In the Pentagon, there is an Islamic invasion into our government offices.
All right, everyone, that wraps it up for this segment of Stirring It Up with Tia Monique. So what do you think? Is Marjorie a piece of work or what? Listen, I'm going to tell you this. White people, and I am talking to white people right now, for some reason, with their guns, they want to hold on to them, but they are the most dangerous people with them. If you look at history and black people. Now that's just my opinion. If you don't share that, then maybe you should check out history. Leave us a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like to become a friend. Until next time, and there will be a next time, take care of yourself and be careful of these Republicans with guns. Bye.